the United States of America, and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Take a real quick moment of silence. Thank you very much. Roll call.
Mrs. Hoover?
Here.
Dr. Krug?
Here.
Mrs. Krug?
Here.
Mr. Krumanacher? Mrs. Lieb?
Here.
Mr. Rocco?
Yep.
Mr. Fazel?
Yes.
Mr. Westrick? Ms. Sinchok?
Here. Karen, is that recording?
No.
Yes, it is. Yes. Okay, remember.
It is?
Well,
Oh, at the bottom there, I see it.
Sorry, I didn't see
And
it.
please, it's supposed to be pertaining to the agenda. Since it's past morning, I'll let do that. So,
Well, thank you
Pastor
very
Morty, go
much.
ahead.
Hi. I come to you on behalf of the local library, and I believe the president of the library sent to Roland and to Dr. Krug the end of the year report and telling what we do in the library for the children of the district. We've got 45 hours a week. We've got evening hours, free computer, free internet, and the usage is, there are a lot of kids that do use it. It's very popular with the children, and especially the younger grades are very popular, but also the reading. And we appreciate your funding us $4,000 last year, and we're asking as you start to think about the next year, if you would put us on for that as well for $4,000, we'd really appreciate it. We need it in order to meet state aid criteria, and I don't know, Dr. Krug, did you get the letter?
No, I didn't see one yet.
You didn't see one yet?
I'll look again, but I didn't see one
Okay,
yet.
okay, well, I'm sorry about that. All right, thank you. If you have any questions for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go into administrative reports. Superintendent. Yep.
Switch my readers here, sorry. Thank you, Dr. Krug, and thank you, everyone. And it's very good to be here as your new superintendent. I'm very, again, humbled and honored to be here. I don't have a long report. This is only my second day here, but I do have a couple of things I want to pass along and share. First of all, I want to express my great thanks to Dr. Tibbett and Ms. Prebish for their overall assistance in the first few days that I've been here. But most specifically in their help with the closures and delays. Unfortunately, it's unfortunate that my first week here had to be kind of consumed with building the closures and building delays. And Dr. Tibbett, especially, and Ms. Prebish both have been extraordinarily helpful with that, and as well as Amanda from Tri-County. So I want to thank them publicly for all their assistance on that. We do continue to evaluate that situation on an almost daily basis. Right now, for example, we are anticipating some extremely cold temperatures tomorrow morning. We will be considering our options for that. We haven't made any decisions yet, but you'll find that I certainly very strongly believe that student safety is important getting the day in. So if there's ever a question about student safety, I always opt for a delay or a closure. But we are expecting some really bitterly cold temperatures tomorrow, so we'll be looking at that closely. In my time here, I was able to get a tour of the consolidation project and very impressed by the work that I saw. I was very fortunate. I've actually had previous project experience with SiteLogic. The folks from that are already known to me, so it's a group of people that I've already worked with, and also with Fiore Construction. So I'm looking very much forward to learning more about that and pursuing that and getting that project done in as timely a fashion as we possibly can. I've managed to meet with all the central office administrators, and I'm looking forward next to setting up some meetings with the association leaders in the buildings, and also getting a chance to meet some of the teachers. I did review there, and tonight, to be specific to the agenda, on the agenda tonight, there is a motion regarding a revision to the calendar, and I did review that with Ms. Sedlock today. We looked at those adjustments very closely. Everything seems to be fine. It really was just actually a matter of some transposition errors when the calendars got moved over. But we straightened them out, or really Karen straightened them out, and the calendar is now in good line with contract and other things. So that is good to go. And again, I'm looking forward to meeting everybody in the district and also folks in the public and certainly the teachers. And I want to thank everyone for the good welcome I received so far, and look forward to being here. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Business managers report.
The treasurer's report for January, the beginning balance of First National Bank is $2,172,318. We had local revenue sources of $166,956. State and federal sources were $158,628. We had a transfer in from a Pliget account of $900,000, which is included in the miscellaneous receipts of $927,286, for total January receipts of $1,252,871. Expenditures were, including a $1,500,000 transfer out to Pliget, were $3,022,017, and at January 31st was $403,172. I also have the Pliget accounts, the total balances on the various Pliget accounts that we have. General fund is, the ending balance was $2,986,764. The capital reserve account is $5,405. The athletic fund is $218,876. And the bonds account, the series 2022, is $1,283,601. And the series 23 is $10,177,261, for a grand total of $671,909 in all Pliget accounts. I also have on your desk, I handed out the general fund that was submitted with the agenda, but the budget numbers were not included on that. We have to decide on it. There are your budget numbers included on this list, and those budget numbers are the entire year, not a portion of the year. So that's the grand total of all budget numbers for those various functioning codes. That's all I have.
All right, be resolved.
Hold on, I have a
Oh, I'm
question.
sorry, go ahead.
Roland, how close are we to having the audit completed where it's ready for
They
presentation?
told us it would be done by the end of March.
Okay, thank you.
It's okay.
He has all the information. He asked for a few things here and there, but when I asked him when he would finish it, he said that their goal is to finish the field work and everything by the end of this month, and then work on the report and have it here for sure by the end of next month.
Okay, be resolved, the minutes of January 7th, 2025 Committee of the Whole and the January 21st, 2025 regular meetings are approved as presented. Motion by Mr. Mike Basil. Second by Mr. Jen Zenshaw. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Motion carries.
Okay, the treasurer and financial reports. Be resolved, the treasurer and financial reports for January 2025 be approved as presented, amended, received, and filed. First by Mr. Mike Basil. Second by Mr. Norm Cook. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Motion carries.
Okay, you can see the enrollment report in front of you. We're gonna go into the action agenda. Buildings, grounds, cafeteria. Item A, cafeteria equipment requests for proposals. You can see it in front of you. This is what Kristen asked for at the cow. The first two items on the list that she had that she absolutely needed. Be resolved, Board of Education approved the solicited request for proposal for 2 standing kettles, $48,534, and a double stack combo unit, $41,331. This is total amount is $89,865. Once approved by the PE and bids are received and will be paid from what fund? How are we gonna pay for that?
With the motion that or not, or
Well, we have to decide where we're gonna pay for it.
And this once bids, oh, I guess we need a motion and
Okay, I'll make the motion. Sarah McCarroll. Okay. Questions or comments? What are we gonna pay for it?
the one thing I was gonna ask was I thought, I can't remember if it was on this item or on the, equipment for the, not TSA, but whatever. it
Tech
was.
ed.
Was Bob gonna meet with, did he meet with Roland to discuss? I think at the last meeting, wasn't it said that this wasn't planned in and you all were maybe gonna meet to discuss whether we can afford it, I recall. I thought.
There was talk of a finance committee being formed.
Yeah, that wasn't, Bob's on vacation, so that didn't happen. Okay.
I have a concern about the way that the motion's written. So is the bids are pending being received, so we can't really
No,
place a
this
vote?
is a motion to request bids.
To request for bids.
Okay.
This isn't to
Okay.
spend the money, this is just.
Oh, this is just request for
Yes.
bids.
Yes, this is a
Okay,
request for
so,
bids.
because I was gonna say those numbers could change.
No, these are the, well, I guess they could a little bit,
That's-
but
that's why
this
I'm
is what
confused.
Kristen gave us last time.
Right?
The first two items are the necessity items. Those are the only two on the motion. Okay?
Okay, but how many
So-
bids do we need?
Well, you need three, at least three, attempts of three, right?
Yeah.
So we
You know,
can't
12
walk
days.
into those numbers either.
No, well, this is the, I use
Those
the
numbers are there
numbers
for
she
information.
was given to us.
Okay.
This is just to request bids.
Correct.
You'll get the real numbers when the bids come in.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Yeah.
We still have to figure out where
We
the,
still have to know where we're gonna pay from.
Well, we don't need to decide if we're bids, do we? I mean,
It has to be budgeted for if we even think we're going to buy it, so where are we
well,
getting?
we still have to accept the bids if we don't have the money.
Okay. I made the motion, Carol seconded.
What do we put in there?
I think it should be a change order because it's part of the construction process.
We weren't
That's
doing
just for me.
construction on the cafeteria though.
We should. It's part of the building.
It's part of the building, and there will be more students using the cafeteria.
Will we be doing the same thing then with the tech ed room?
I would imagine. I don't know how it couldn't be.
Okay.
Just, I'm not sure, Doctor, the change order would be with, no, the change order would be a contract amendment.
Plus we pay the upcharge on the change orders, whereas, right, don't we pay the 15% or something on, or
You're gonna be better off soliciting bids on your own.
And then paying for it for something else.
Yeah, if you're gonna pay for it anyway.
you might as well have the change order money, or the return back to seven vendors.
And from what I understand, some of the,
With something, capital improvement or general fund?
No.
There's two funds we can draw it out, general fund or capital improvement.
what's in the cafeteria fund?
That's,
That's
that's not gonna go that.
I
We
just
usually
curious.
pay at the end of the
Some
year
of
for
that.
that stuff.
Can we just reword it to accept bids then?
Yeah, we can leave that out. if you
Like,
want.
what I'm
We just
saying is, I
forget
think
the
this
thing.
is too specific and we're gonna lock ourselves into something that,
Okay,
I think if
I
we're
can
just
cross-
asking
yeah.
to do bids,
I'll
let's
just cross
just
out
be
the line.
less
Mhm.
specific and
Just
see what
request
we
bids
get.
and if you wanna accept one.
be resolved, the Board of Education approves soliciting requests for proposals for two self-standing kettles and a double stack combo unit, once approved by the PD and bids are received. I made the motion, Carrie's the second. Second. Any other questions or comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed to this? Okay, let's put it out for bids.
Motion carries.
Okay, item B,
Did Karen get all that?
Yes.
Okay. Just encourage
she
you.
knows how to get old.
All right.
Okay. All right, discuss the possible change order. Discuss the possible change order for maintenance area of construction.
there were some changes discussed in the last team meeting, and Dr. Tippett had requested a change in the location of a classroom. And we had an area that was designated as classroom, but it was a long, narrow area. And unfortunately, Chris Barr is not here tonight, but he said that he was fine with switching from the second floor down to the first floor, and he would take that long, narrow area because it's not really conducive to use as a classroom, and there's no natural light that comes into it. Where up on the second floor, there is natural light, so Dr. Tippett made that request. And in my opinion, it's a valid request, but it involves some changing of what happens in the maintenance area. Jeff, do you want to expand on that?
Well, yeah, it kind of incorporates in our little storage room that we had. As far as the classroom's concerned, it's not my call what y'all decide on. My original concern was, speaking of the natural light, so Hank, you can probably speak more to it, but we were going to knock out a wall in the block wall so we could get light in from the corridor area and put in a lighted doorway and side light went on the classroom. My only concern with moving all that was moving the door 6 feet. Was a lot of expense and a lot of time that should be saved and credited back if we didn't have to do that piece of it. As far as the classroom's concerned, we're gonna lose the bathroom and the storage room. Whatever you want to decide you want to do with that.
So to put some context to this, during the design there were X amount of classrooms needed. We made the addition as small as possible, and in doing so we were trying to fit a classroom into an area on the first floor. And in order to do that, a classroom, we had our marching orders were to make classrooms somewhere between 800 and 900 square feet because that's what the existing classrooms were. So there was this space that we tried to fit a classroom into that's long and narrow, and we were trying to get borrowed light from the courtyard into that room by putting a window in the courtyard and putting glass, what's called a borrowed light, in the corridor wall to allow natural light into this classroom. And in doing that, we had to make the room over 800 square feet to make it work. Jeff came to us and said, hey, we're moving the wall and move some equipment, and it's only moving 6 feet. And why are we doing that? And I explained to him, and then we looked at other ways to make this happen. So to save the money of not moving some equipment and not moving that wall, and then not having to put the borrowed light in the window and not having to move the door, we reduced that room to under 800 square feet. But if we move the tech space from a classroom with windows on the second floor down to there, it doesn't need to be 800 square feet anymore. So it seems like a win-win. You can save some money to pay for some unforeseen things where there's a drain that was running across the top of the floor instead of under the slab, and the lightning protection ground rods are running across the middle floor. We can relocate them, and your classroom now will be a classroom with windows. So it seemed like a win-win to do this, and it seemed like the administration and everybody thought they could make it work. So
Okay.
I did a sketch for it, and that's what's out for pricing.
The only concern I had looking at that was prior to the considering this change, there's 3 classrooms that are the 2, the tech, and the 1. This will go down to, there is a net loss of an actual classroom, correct, in this change?
There isn't, as long as we do what the sketch was. So what it was 3 classroom-sized spaces, 2 of which were going to be used for classrooms, and 1 of which was going to be used for this tech room. Now we have two full classroom-sized spaces, 1 room that is still above the 660 square foot minimum the state requires for a classroom, but below the 800 square feet which Northern Cambria wanted for a classroom. So there's still 3 rooms, and 2 of them are going to be classrooms, and 1 of them is going to be a tech space. The difference is, before there were 3 rooms over 800 square feet. Now there's 2 rooms over 800 and 1 room under 800. But there was always one of those 3 rooms was slated for tech.
So in extremis, that long, narrow room could still be used as a classroom.
It could still be used as a
would be under
classroom.
the
It meets the
district's.
minimum requirements from the state.
Right, but the state requirement's only 660, so it would
Right.
meet, wouldn't meet Northern Cambria standards, but it would meet PDE standards if it came to that at some point down the road.
Exactly. If an emergency came up and you needed to use that as a
Yeah.
classroom, it still meets the
And,
PD
and
requirement.
even with no work time, it would still have the necessary, like, environmental controls and so forth to be able to let it be inclined
Yeah,
to
so
use
so
as a
that's a little bit
classroom.
of a misnomer in this, as I just read this tonight, this motion, it says no work. What it is reducing the work.
Okay,
It's not no work, there's still work happening in there.
okay, all right. Yeah, because I'm not that concerned about the natural light, because as long as you don't put special needs in there, you can use it for regular ed kids for something if it came to that. But there would have to be some of that minimums, and you're saying that's still gonna be happening.
Yes,
Losing a classroom or not?
No.
you're not losing a classroom, no.
Mr. Barr had been
You all right with
occupying a room.
Yeah, as long as they continue. There had been some talk about possibly not, but it sounds like what they're talking about now is keeping the classroom, so that's great.
So that's good.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I have a
Yeah,
question.
Ben?
Are we looking at a significant cost savings? Do you have?
It says possible.
The contractors are going to determine that. We gave them their savings because we're reducing some work, but there's going to be some additional costs for putting a drain under the floor slab that was an unforeseen condition. It was behind a bunch of stuff in a storage room and nobody knew it was running across the floor. And for putting the ground rods into a wall instead of out in the middle of the floor. So there's some added costs and there's some savings. I think the savings are going to outweigh the costs. I don't know if substantial is the proper word, but there should be savings realized in this change. Because the other thing is, if you don't make the change, you would still need to do these two things for the unforeseen conditions, and then they would be an add.
That was my next question. So we're needing to make that.
Yes.
change.
Possible, not
So, but
substantial.
I know, I want to change it to substantial.
We'll change that, don't worry. We'll change it.
You can't.
We'll
do
change
it.
that.
I want to see
Don't get caught
substantial
on that one.
project cost savings.
Okay. Are you good with that, Carol?
I'm good with that, yeah, I talked to Hank earlier today. I had not seen the drawing that he had marked up with the changes prior to what you sent me today, so that was kind of because we thought that those changes were not being made that were requested when you and Jeff had walked through, but you in fact had made them, I just didn't see them.
Jeff, I'm sorry to interrupt now, but just want to make sure, you had talked about using some of that space for your team too, I think. You still gonna be able to do that with the way we're discussing it here? Is that
Well,
still
they keep the
gonna?
room, I won't get that room, no, but I'm still okay. I'll make it work.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is Joy okay with all this? Because
Yeah.
you're not losing your classrooms, right?
No, as long as the classroom's still being created, yes, and we're just flip-flopping, so there won't be any space loss. That's wonderful, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Joy.
Anybody else have any questions then? Okay, here we go, indication accept the recommendation of the business manager. And business manager, site logic foreman, to reduce the construction of the maintenance area resulting in possible construction time savings and benefit the district and overall project cost. Eliminated those substantial words.
Hold on a second, I've never.
Okay, I don't think it's supposed to be business manager, it's supposed to be maintenance supervisor,
Yeah,
Okay.
okay?
you're gonna need to reread this, yeah.
I'll make sure I do.
Karen.
Be it resolved, the Board of Education accepts the recommendation of the maintenance supervisor and the site logic foreman to reduce the construction of the maintenance area resulting in a possible construction time savings and benefit the districts and overall project cost.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Tom, second by Carol. Any other questions or comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed to this?
Motion carries.
All right, be it resolved, the Board of Education authorizes the repair to the elementary middle school refrigerator removal and dispose of existing evaporator units and installation of new Russell evaporator. The cost of the district will be $6,621.20. I'll make that motion.
That would have cost to throw something away.
Just maintenance repair, stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Well, it's a new one too. And, yeah,
Okay, is there any other questions?
nothing's cheap.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Who seconded it, please?
I did.
Mike, Mr. Basil. Moving company, be it resolved the Board of Education hires blank moving company at a cost of blank to move the content to the new edition.
I'll make the motion.
Motion, Mr. Mike Basil.
Second.
Second, Mr. Tom Rocco. Questions or comments?
So do we have
Right, you-
the blanks, I
you
guess?
made the motion.
Yeah, do we have,
I was gonna
I was
say.
just gonna ask you.
we had one quote last time I recall for
I got
20-something
two, I
thousand.
got two, and I'm hopefully here from third and tomorrow, by end of the week.
Okay.
So,
Um,
I'll have 3 bids for you.
Someone called today,
Okay,
and I sent it over to your phone.
okay, thank you.
So we're not-
This is, we need to know.
Yeah, we see if we can
We don't.
approve
We need to
Can
know.
we table
You told me
it?
one was what, 21 grand?
Just let it
Yeah,
go.
One was 52 grand.
And I don't know what this one would be, once we walk it, so.
Well, when, this is for the end of the school year?
This is
Okay, I'm gonna motion to table.
This is the
I'll
actual.
second.
Second by Mrs. Norma Krug. All in favor of the
Aye.
table? Anybody opposed to that? We'll put that on for next one after we know it's full. All right, Tech Ed room, be it resolved the Board of Education purchased the equipment needed for the renovation Tech Ed room. The cost is $40,474.65 with a payment of, well, I'm not gonna do that. All right, I'll make the motion for that. Second, Mr. James Henshaw. Questions or comments? Where's it come from?
Yeah, are we using the contingency fund? What are we using?
Well, here's the thing. This Tech Ed room was on the construction cost. So we can do that with contingency fund money, right?
I don't know if the purchase of equipment was part of the construction project.
It was
We
not,
don't either, so.
well, as far as I know, it wasn't.
I didn't see anything. I mean, I don't.
But once again, you're in the same situation. I don't know
Yeah.
why you would try to do a change order with.
Well, it
construction
isn't,
company.
I just wrote payment.
Okay, so
Okay.
you're asking about the contingency funds?
Yes,
That's an appropriate place for this to come from. I mean, it's your money. You can use it.
we could use it for that if we need to, right? Okay. That was the question I was gonna have.
Don't forget, we've got lots of other stuff going on, fuel tank and everything else once again.
I understand that. They have to set up this room, they need to know the voltage for all that kind of stuff.
Okay,
So
well, he
this
asked,
is more time sensitive.
he asked for a second list of items too.
Well, this is the necessity item.
That's what I'm saying, is he okay with all of this then, I guess?
Well, keep in mind again too, like Nick said and Hank said in the past, we're gonna pay an upcharge. Like, you're almost better off to have the money returned from the contingency back to our funds and then just buy it versus using contingency just to use it. Because the money's gonna come back to us if we don't use it all anyway. At the end of the day, it's all the same bucket. It's just a matter of whether we get it back or we commit it now, then we have other purchases come up that we have to purchase anyway. So I look at it like you might as well either let the money come back and use general fund, or it doesn't make sense necessarily to use a contingency, because what do we pay an upcharge of typically?
You would pay an upcharge if you do it as a change order.
Yep.
If you're moving contingency money around, you're not, as long as you're not doing it as a change order.
This isn't
you're
a
not
change order,
doing
we're
that.
just using the funds.
It's money that's coming out of the general, or the capital project fund, so as long as we're using it for a capital project, it doesn't have to have any tie-in at all to the
The change order.
project.
Any other questions?
So what are we using that? Capital projects, contingency
We're
fund,
gonna
which
have
one?
to, but that's fine. I can't make the decision for all of you. My thing is capital improvement fund. That's my thing.
I'm fine with that too, I just
We'll
need
take
to know
it out
which
of the
right now.
cafeteria
Carol,
fund,
what
there
do
you
you
go.
think? What do
Doesn't
you
make any
think
sense.
should
Capital
be
fund.
building, like, we have to watch, well, we're not nearly done with this project yet, so our cushion's getting smaller.
Look, there's two funds. There's a general fund and there's a capital fund. Once it goes in the capital fund, it has to be used for that kind of stuff. Okay? General fund, you can use it to buy pencils. Okay?
So I think it should be.
I think it should be the capital.
I think it should be the
I
capital.
agree with that.
Okay.
If anyone cares, my opinion is.
I was wondering myself,
My
I was
opinion
wondering.
is to take it out of the capital project fund. There you go.
Do we have enough to cover it?
Yeah, right now we do, yeah.
Yeah, right now we
Right
do.
now we do. Okay. All right, the cost, $40,474.65 for the payment from the capital project fund. I made the motion, Jen seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed to that?
I am.
Okay, well, there's 7-1 then.
Motion carries.
Okay. Classroom carpeting, be resolved, Board of Education, purchase carpet for room G207 from Siemens Part 1 in the amount of $3,877.36.
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Mike Basil.
I'll second.
Okay, Daniel. Mrs. Stewart. All right, all in favor?
I have a question.
Should be
Go
paid
ahead.
for
I'm
from.
sorry, I forgot to ask, actually, wasn't even on the table, and I forgot to ask for questions and comments.
Yeah.
So, questions and comments.
First question, do we have, this seems like a lot of money for one room. Do we have, how many, is this the lowest of the bids, or are we?
What's the square footage of the room?
I'm not sure, but that seems like a lot of money for what we're talking about.
It was around 800.
It'd be between 800 and.
Yeah, I was gonna say 800 because you said that,
Yeah, I have that on the quote.
I was gonna say.
Keep in
It's
mind,
there.
I have like, it's 864 square feet.
No, that's okay. Is
That's what
that
the bid
the
Yeah,
other
she
quote we
has
have?
it. He has it there
Okay.
too.
First person to come out.
It's like
Gentleman
4
with the
square
great
foot.
room, so he gave us the same price as.
Or something.
It's cost, so.
For carpet.
I'm gonna guess it's a direct glue down.
I mean, for 800 square feet, it's like 450 a
Well,
square
but
foot.
Jeff,
my
please,
dilemma is only got.
Careful.
now-
That's most
Okay.
stores.
We're in
Square foot.
contract.
I don't know who's putting it down. That's
And now moving
That's
forward.
what
That's what the bid says at Stevens.
Then I think that's
Well,
what.
Stevens gave a bid, they were actually installing, because I know that Laura had been
This one?
talking about.
It's there.
Is it?
The labor, like,
600.
well, the bid doesn't have labor.
Okay.
The bid just has materials, so.
Okay, so Jeff is saying that this room, we really can't wait for more bids on this room?
Because it's bad.
Right.
This was bad.
And there's somebody moving in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and you don't really need a bid, it's under 12 days. So,
But
And to put it in
I've just meant for
perspective,
better
the
pricing.
bid prices for carpeting to install range, depending on the carpeting and the type, range between $30 and $40 a square yard. And you're saying these numbers are for something?
484 a foot.
So,
I did it by square foot, but,
so that's close to that $40 range.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
and it's a direct glue down, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And they're installing, or you, Jeff?
They're installing.
Okay.
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 Those are my two questions, time and
Everybody
cost.
good?
Okay.
All right, all in favor?
To be paid for from,
Where it's general.
is it contingency or it needs to?
I didn't even read that part. So all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed to this?
Motion carries.
All right, request for payment, be resolved that the student to K Plumbing in the amount of $4,265.05 for work completed in the hallways and lockers. This work was previously approved in the amount of not to exceed $4,000. Motion by Mrs. Carol Lee,
Second.
second Mr. Tom Rocco. Questions or comments? One will come one. It's
It was $4,000, but the price varied because of the, everything's gone up. So it's only $265.05 over the original estimate that they had, and they were doing it on time and cost. So Dave verified that that is the time that they spent and that that is the cost that has been expended, so.
That's pretty close to us, I mean, that's.
Yeah, it was
that kind of
close to
work.
the estimate, but it wasn't the estimate.
We had to bring it back since it was
So,
a not
yeah.
to exceed, so put it back on. That's all we did. Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Motion carries.
Furnace repairs, be resolved, Board of Education approve the repair for the coal furnace at the high school provided by CS&E Company. The cost of repairs is, what was that, Jeff?
$6,448.
$6,448.00. Question, Mr. Daniel Hoover. Second, Mr. Mike Basil. Questions or comments?
Jeff, how soon do you start next, do you know? Once it's approved, I mean,
I'll go first thing tomorrow morning.
is it like how long of a repair or something like that, do you think?
He said probably 2 days.
Okay, thanks.
I'll let you know soon, in the morning, but, he promised me to get right on it.
Thanks.
Does that include the grades?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have something, Daniel?
Yeah, so as soon as this is done, we'll be able to use coal as our primary heat source for the high school. Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
As long as I have label.
Anybody opposed?
Oh,
We have the
Motion
ability
carries.
to do it. All right, good.
I'll come up Sunday.
Okay, nothing, community relations, nothing at this time, curriculum instruction, homebound, be it resolved, Board of Education approves the homebound instruction for a grade 3 student.
I have that documentation.
Hang on.
Oh, sorry.
Motion,
I'll make the
Mrs. Norma
motion.
Crook.
Yes, please.
Mrs. Carol Lee. Okay, got any questions or comments?
I have that documentation. It's all been signed off. You can see it in the executive session.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Motion carries.
Okay, legislation policy development. Be it resolved, the Board of Education approves the 2025-26 updated school calendar. Changes were made due to language in the contract and correction, adding 2 days to the calendar. I'll make the motion for that.
Second.
So, Mr. Tom Rocco, any questions or comments? I believe Alan told us about that already. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Motion carries.
All right, personnel, interim superintendent agreement. Be resolved, the Board of Education approves the interim superintendent agreement at the per diem rate of $300 per day for 1 to 2 days a week for the interim superintendent position. Mr. Jared Kimmenacher. Mr. Mike Basil. Questions or comments?
Will
Or
we,
go ahead, I'm Jen.
yeah, will we be billed? How will we know what days you worked?
I'll let
Things like that.
answer that.
Yeah, that'll go through Mr. Johnson. He's not gonna send an invoice. I don't believe he'll
Okay.
he'll work with the business office.
Okay.
on the
Just gotta
days he
communicate
wants.
with the business manager the days that I'm there, and he can confirm that with whoever.
Okay, and will we have, anything in writing, or is this motion gonna stand
This
for
is
that?
for the actual written agreement. Mr. Johnson and I finalized that today, so I approved it. It's ready to be signed if you guys approve it tonight.
Do you get to see it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Is it a maximum of 2 days?
It is a maximum of 2 days, unless further and more time is required because of circumstances.
I'm not looking to, I'll come if needed more. If I needed more, I'll be here. I would not let the school district, so I'm not worried about anything extra. That's fine.
Well, did we not, what was the motion we had last meeting for the interim? Did we have a motion?
That was to approve it. This is to
This is
approve
just
the
approve-
actual
this is
written
a- okay.
contract, yep. 4
Okay.
corners of the
Thank you.
contract, yep.
I just have a hard time approving what I haven't read.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, copy.
I do.
And then for the next motion that's coming, I haven't read that contract either, so if you have that,
That's
Probably gonna be
because,
held off.
yeah, we're gonna have to table that one.
Very
We're
good.
still fine tuning that.
Thank you.
I'll make
It's
sure.
it's not done.
Yeah,
that's
certainly
fine.
that
I
before the
just,
next meeting.
I can't, on good faith, vote on something I haven't read. Thank you. Would you like to?
Do you want to skip this?
I will. We'll come back. Okay.
Thank you. I'm like.
Okay, the next one's gonna be skipped.
I would agree.
I can skip that or do I? Just skip it. We're gonna skip item B. It's just not ready yet. Staff development, nothing from Jen. Student activities, nothing from Mike. Transportation, the Wilson and Bus School going on. Athletics, assistant coaches, you can read everything in front of you. I'm not gonna do that. So be it resolved, the Board of Education approves the following assistant and volunteer assistant coaches for the 24-25 school year. And you can read all those. So I'll make the motion for that.
A second.
Mrs. Norm Krug seconds it. Any questions or comments on that? All in favor?
Aye.
This is for the assistant coaches, Jen.
Oh, good, I'll have help. Good, thanks.
It's a lot of assistance. Thank you very much to all these people stepping up.
There's a lot of parents on here and past students, so thank you, that is great.
Track uniforms. Be it resolved, the Board of Education approves the purchase of new track field uniforms for both the girls and boys track teams. The cost for uniforms for both teams will be $4,465. Motion by Mrs. Norm Krug,
Second.
second by Mrs. Daniel Hoover. Questions or comments on those?
I assume this is on their cycle.
Yeah, they were on
Uniform
cycle.
cycle.
Yep, they're on cycle. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Motion carries.
Payment of the bills. Be it resolved, the payment of the bills for the month of February 2025 be approved as presented or then received as filed. I'll make the motion for that. So, Mr. Mike Basil. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Motion carries.
Okay, we'll go back. Did you have a chance to read enough, Jen, or no?
I'm happy with what I've read, thank you. I was
Okay.
looking for a couple things.
Okay, so the motion was by Mr. Jerry Krimenacher and second by Mr. Mike Basil. Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Motion carries.
Okay, we will go to executive session, but we will not be voting on any item when we come out, okay? So be it resolved, the Board of Education will enter an executive session at 6:41 PM. And I'll make that motion. Second by Mr. Jerry Krimenacher. Questions or comments? All in
We not-
favor?
Yeah,
Okay, anybody opposed to that?
Motion carries.
Okay.
do we not need to table the item B, the superintendent?
He skipped it.
Item here, here.
We just skip it, we don't have to table it? Okay.
Yeah, we're good. Thanks, guys. We will not be voting, so we'll come
Mr.
right out,
Johnson.
adjourn, hit it, okay?
Could you do me a favor?
Sure.
Because they're gonna have to come back.
I'll do it.
It's not.
Oh, you're.
The what? Oh,
This was like less coming across the.
there it is.
Sorry. No, I was looking at the screen, not my phone.
I know, if I would have known it was like
They're gonna
that, I
have to
wouldn't have
come
brought
back. You'll have to come back.
Because my driveway.
Yeah,
I,
Would you mind?
Great,
Come back
my
from
husband went for the
executive
bill,
and then
when he
we'll
comes back and sees it needs.
We'll run into the and then we can adjourn.
No.
Because there'll be a motion by, seconded by.
No, the company, oh, no, I didn't.
Yeah, wait.